Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we got a couple of things to discuss as we get back into the flow of things and we continue on with our NHL rumor video. We're going to be discussing a couple of signings, we're going to be discussing a couple of waiver updates, we're going to be discussing a little bit of injury news, and we're also going to be discussing a couple of rumors, including some players who could be signing new deals in the not too distant future. The goalie market seems to be heating up. And what about Florida and Vegas? Could these two teams make major acquisitions before a trade deadline? We'll get to all of that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Dance and Talk channel. Before we get into it, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. We have 200 subscribers. Thank you for all of your support. I would never been able to do it without you guys. So don't forget to subscribe so we can hit 250 subscribers. But today we're going to be discussing a couple of things. We're going to start off as usual with the signings. There have been a handful of signings over the past couple of days since we last did a news video. So we'll get to all of those signings coming up here. There are 4 of them. First, the Vegas Golden Knights have extended 7th defenseman Ben Hutton to a 2-year contract extension with the AAV of $975,000, and they'll begin at the start of next year. Now, this is a really good deal in my opinion. Hutton was brought in a couple of years ago for the Vegas Golden Knights. Ever since he's been with the Vegas Golden Knights, it's actually been really good. 2 years ago, it was his first season in Vegas. He put up 3 goals and 13 points in 58 games. Last year, tied the goal total with 3 goals, but only had 8 points in 31 games. They were a little bit healthier last year. So far this year, they've had to call upon him with injuries to guys like Whitecloud, Martinez, Haig at some points, and he's been really good. He's put up a goal and 9 points in 31 games, has a +5 rating. He looks fantastic as a 7th defenseman. So the Golden Knights are going to be able to keep him as their 7th defenseman for the next little while. He's a fantastic player who doesn't have to play every night, but when he's called upon, he can be a really good third pair defenseman. So this is a really good signing in my opinion. It's under $1 million, so it's not overly expensive. He's shown he can be a really good third pair player, and I think this is going to be a really fantastic deal for Vegas Golden Knights. So Hutton is going to remain in Vegas for the next 2 years. It's a really decent contract. It's not something that's going to be overly expensive, and with the way he's played so far this past couple of years, I think it's a fantastic deal for Golden Knights. So they're able to extend one of their depth defenders. Then the Toronto Maple Leafs signed 2023 6th round draft selection Noah Chadwick to a 3-year ELC with the AAV of $851,000, and deal will begin at the start of next year. Now, this is a fantastic deal in my opinion for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Chadwick was drafted last year in the 6th round, so I'm really surprised that he was able to get a ELC already at this point in time, but he's definitely had a really good season so far in the WHL. Last year, before his draft year, he put up 5 goals and 20 points in 67 games with Lethbridge in the WHL and juniors. So far this year, he's been absolutely fantastic. He already has more goals than last year, putting up 7 goals, and already has more points than last year, 26 points, in only 32 games. So he's played less than half of the games that he did last year, and he already has more goals and more points. So Chadwick looks fantastic. The 3-year ELC at $851 AAV is not overly bad in my opinion for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Chadwick's a good left shot defenseman, and I think in time he should be at the very least a 3rd pair, if not 2nd pair defenseman. He looks like he's going to be a really good prospect there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So this is a really good signing. Not someone who's going to, like I said, be a really NHL contributor in the next couple of years. He's probably going to need the rest of this year, plus maybe even next year too in the WHL. Then he is probably going to need another year or 2 in the AHL. So he's probably 2, 3, maybe even 4 years away from contending for an NHL roster spot. But when he is ready, he'll be a fantastic addition to the Toronto Maple Leafs blue line. And I think in time he should be a fantastic either 3rd or 2nd pair defenseman. So the Leafs are able to get a really good signing here, signing one of the young prospects. I think Chadwick in time will be a really good top 6 defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like I said, I think he's still a couple of years away from contending for an NHL roster spot, but when he is ready, he'll be a fantastic addition to the Leafs blue line. So a really good sign there for the Leafs. As I said, one of their 2023 draft picks to a new ELC. Then we finally got confirmation on the Easton Bear stuff. Easton Bear has indeed now officially been signed with the Washington Capitals. Bear signs a 2-year contract with the Washington Capitals with the AAV of $2.062 million, and they'll once again start at this point in time. Now, Bear's a really good maybe 2nd, 3rd pair defenseman at this point in time. He's coming off a serious injury he suffered for Team Canada last summer, so after he suffered that injury, the Canucks weren't willing to pay his $2 million qualifying offer for an injured player who may not be the same as they were last year, so he was let go, not qualified. He became a UFA. He continued to practice. There was a lot of talk that he could go back to the Canucks. That never wound up happening, and he does go to the Washington Capitals. So that's not too surprising. We knew that for a couple of weeks now that Bear was going to go to Washington. It's just a matter of time before they officially send it, and they officially have. So Bear should be, at the very least, a solid third pair defenseman, at least to start out. I think eventually he could be a solid top 4 defenseman for the Washington Capitals. Last year, he was fantastic. He played with Vancouver. He put up 3 goals and 16 points in 61 games. Fit extremely well with Vancouver. The only reason the Canucks never brought him back was because the Canucks were really concerned about his injury stuff, and they didn't want to pay him a $2 million qualifying offer. So that's the only reason he's not back with the Canucks. And I think he should be a fantastic fit with the Washington Capitals. So we already went over this. This is a very fantastic sign for the Capitals. Bear should be a solid second, third pair defenseman. $2 million for this year plus next year is pretty good value, and I think he should be a very fantastic defenseman for the Washington Capitals. So that's really good news there for Washington. And then last year, going over to the LA Kings, they signed 2022 fourth rounder left shot defenseman Angus Booth to a 3-year ELC with an AAV of $853,000, and they'll begin at some point in the next couple of years. So this is a really good signing in my opinion. Booth is currently playing in the QMJHL. It's been a couple of years since he was drafted. Last year, which was his draft plus 1 year, he put 3 goals and 19 points in 62 games. So far this year, already has 2 goals and 15 points in 30 games. So less than half of his games, and he's already almost at last year's point total. So Booth looks like a really fantastic deep prospect for the LA Kings. And he's probably going to need another year in juniors, probably the rest of this year, maybe even next year too. Then a year in the AHL. So probably still not going to compete in NHL for the next little while. But in 2 to 3 years' time, I could definitely see it happen. So very fantastic sign there for the Kings. Like I said, not someone who's going to be impactful in the next couple of years' time, but I think eventually he should be a solid third pair defenseman, and I could definitely see him be an NHLer. So really good sign there for the Kings to sign one of their mid-level draft selections in Angus Booth to a new 3-year deal. And I think the way he's playing right now in the juniors, I think he's going to be a fantastic addition in a couple of years' time for the LA Kings on the defensive end, and I think he's going to be a great addition. So really good stuff there for the Kings. So really good signings there for the Kings to sign Booth to his ELC. The Caps to officially sign Bear. Hopefully Bear will get into the game action in the next couple of days. Chadwick to get his ELC with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Hutton to get an extension with the Vegas Golden Knights. And those are all really good signings in my opinion for those 4 teams. So really good stuff there. Then we go over to the waiver update. There were no waivers until 2 days ago because of the trade and roster freeze, so no one could be placed on waivers. So last time we talked, there were 3 players that cleared waivers. After that, there was nobody placed on waivers until a couple of days ago. Then a couple of days ago, we saw Michael Hutchinson in Detroit and Tyson Jost would be placed on waivers. They both cleared yesterday, and then yesterday Ian Mitchell was placed on waivers. Now I'm not exactly sure what the outcome is of the Ian Mitchell one because we haven't officially gotten word on if he's clear or not at this point in time as they're recording this video, so it's quite possible he could clear or not. But looking at the 2 players who cleared yesterday, I'm not overly surprised Michael Hutchinson wound up clearing. He's a decent 3rd string goaltender, maybe 4th string goaltender. He's not an upgrade on any team's goaltending situations right now, and the Ravens are getting Alex Lyon back. So Lyon Reimer tandem is better than a Reimer Hutchinson tandem, so I don't think it's too surprising Hutchinson was placed on waivers. I was expecting this after they signed him, and like I said, there's been a lot of teams that could have signed him this offseason, and no one did. He's more at the very least a 3rd string, if not a 4th string goaltender at this point in time, so I wasn't expecting anyone to claim him, and he does wind up clearing, so that's not too surprising in my opinion. Tyson Jost is a decent 4th line forward, but he's also making a $2 million AAV cap hit. No team's currently going to want to add a $2 million 4th line forward, so I'm not overly surprised Jost cleared as well. He's a decent, like I said, 4th line forward, but at the $2 million cap hit, no one's going to take on that sort of contract right now, so he is easily being able to be cleared. Both those guys are going to be sent down to the minors most likely. And then we also saw Ian Mitchell be placed on waivers today. Mitchell was also placed on waivers late October, so I'm probably going to say that he clears. Maybe there's a team out there who really needs some defensive help that could possibly claim him, but he's already cleared waivers once this year. I expect him to probably clear waivers again, so it'll be interesting to see. I do expect Ian Mitchell to probably wind up clearing, but it will be interesting to see if maybe there's a team or 2 who take a flyer on him. So it will be interesting to see, but Mitchell's been placed on waivers in Boston. We don't know exactly if he's been cleared or not, but it sounds like after being placed on waivers already once this year, he probably will be cleared on waivers. And then Hutchinson and Jost were both placed and cleared on waivers yesterday. injury, and I'm not overly surprised given the fact Jost has a $2 million cap hit. Although he's a decent fourth line forward, no one's taking that on right now, and Hutchinson's not an upgrade on any team's backup positions right now, so there's no need for Hutchinson. He goes back down to the minors. Jost has too high of a cap hit. He goes back down to the minors, and I expect Mitchell to probably clear, given the fact he's already cleared once this year. So it will be interesting to see, but those are your sort of waiver updates over the past couple of days. Going over to a quick injury update from the past couple of days. For the Anaheim Ducks, Benoit Olivier Giroux has an MCL injury. He's going to be out for the next 6 weeks, so it's a big blow to the Anaheim Ducks. Then Seth Corrali has an abdominal injury. He's going to be out day-to-day, so really bad blow for the Jackets. Curtis Lazar has an undisclosed injury. He's going to be out for a known period of time. Tyler Johnson and Alex Vlasic returned to play for the Chicago Blackhawks. Ryan Hartman for the Minnesota Wild. Joe Veleno has an undisclosed injury. He's out day-to-day for the Detroit Red Wings. David Gustafsson has a lower body injury. He's out day-to-day for the Winnipeg Jets. Vladislav Gavrikov has been cleared to play. Jacob McDonald has a lower body injury. He's out day-to-day. Kalen Addison and Logan Thompson have both been cleared to play for the Sharks and the Knights respectively. Jacob Trouba has an upper body injury. He's out for an unknown period of time. Ethan Bear, after signing, was cleared to play, so that's really good news for the Capitals. Sam Ersson has an undisclosed injury, out for an unknown period of time. Tyson Barrie has an upper body injury, out for a day-to-day period of time right now. Swayman and Novak has an undisclosed injury. He's out day-to-day right now. But the Canadiens were able to get Jordan Harris back. The Sharks were able to get Ryan Carpenter back. The Wings were able to get Petrie, Mata, and Lyon back. The Flyers got Sam Ersson back. The Islanders got Matt Martin back. The Leafs got Mark Giordano back. The Kraken got Burakovsky back, and the Jackets got Roslovic back, so really good stuff there. Ben Hutton has an upper body injury, out for an unknown period of time. Justin Falk has a lower body injury, out for an unknown period of time. Martin Ferravari has an upper body injury, and Charlie Lindgren has an undisclosed injury, both out for an unknown period of time. Taylor Radish has a lower body injury, out for an unknown period of time. Ross Colin has an undisclosed injury, out for an unknown period of time. And a couple of other injuries that have been updated earlier today. Zach Wereinski has an ankle injury. That's what's kept him over the past couple of games. He's going to be out 6 weeks, so that's a huge blow to the Blue Jackets. But then Brian Hallonen in Jersey, Matt Grzelcyk in Boston, Fisher and Veleno in Detroit, and Spurgeon in Minnesota have all been cleared to play and are all back into game action, hopefully, in the not-too-distant future. So really good stuff there. A lot of good injury updates from the past couple of days, but not good to see the guys like Zach Werenski go down with an injury, Charlie Lindgren, Justin Falk, Ben Hutton, Tyson Barrie, amongst others. So really bad stuff there on the injury front, but a lot of these guys are able to get back into game action, like Burakovsky, who's been out for a while, like Roslovic, who's been out for a while, Lyon, who's been out for a little while, so good to see those guys get back into game action. And hopefully getting those guys back will be huge bumps for the teams who get those guys back. And lastly here, going over to a couple of quick rumors. First, it's a couple of signing rumors. As of January 1st, 2024, players who signed one-year deals are going to be eligible to sign new contract extensions. So players who signed one-year deals throughout the 2023 season, for this season, were not able to sign long-term extensions or even contract extensions of any sort until new year begins. So last year we saw a couple of guys not too long after sign new deals. First it was Joe Pavelski, who signed a one-year $3.5 million deal really fast after he was able to. Then we saw Dylan Strome sign a long-term deal with the Washington Capitals after signing a one-year deal with them in the offseason. So we saw a couple of guys. Here are a couple of guys that I could see on one-year deals possibly get extensions. Not all of these guys are going to, and maybe we don't see very many, but I could see 2 or 3 guys possibly get new deals on January 1st, or at least in the week or two after January 1st. So here are a couple of guys. First, Arizona with Juuso Valimaki. It's been a really good top 4 defenseman. Some have already said that maybe Valimaki is used as trade bait. I think he could still be a very fantastic top 4 defenseman for the Arizona Coyotes. So I could see Valimaki be extended by Arizona Coyotes in the first couple of weeks of January. This is a name that Elliot Friedman mentioned. I could definitely see this as well. But Jeremy Swayman, who was an RFA, signed a one-year deal in the offseason. He's going to be eligible to get a long-term extension, and he's played fantastic this year. So Elliot Friedman said that nothing's imminent, but it sounds like Swayman could be one of the guys who winds up signing a new extension, so that'll be interesting to see. Columbus Blue Jackets, in my opinion, Yegor Chinakhov, who signed a one-year cheap deal after not having a greatest of seasons last year, is absolutely doing fantastic. One of the better young players in the Columbus Blue Jackets organization right now. I could definitely see him get sort of a contract extension early in the new year, so that'll be interesting to see. 2 guys who also Elliot Friedman mentioned was Duchene and Pavelski in Dallas. Both are really good veterans. We've seen Pavelski sign one-year contract extensions over the past couple of years. Duchene's fitting extraordinarily well with Dallas, so I could see those guys possibly sign new deals with Dallas, but it's going to be interesting to see. In Detroit, I could see guys like Sprong and Gostisbehere get new deals. Sprong is fitting in the bottom 6 extraordinarily well with the Detroit Red Wings. I could definitely see him get a new deal. Gostisbehere in Detroit's defense, he's been one of the better defenders for the Detroit Red Wings this year, so I could see them try and extend him. Florida, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who was bought out by the Canucks, signed a 1-year deal in Florida. He's been extremely well with the Florida Panthers this year. I could definitely see the Panthers want to keep him around as like a second or third pair defenseman. Cam Talbot in Los Angeles signed a 1-year cheap deal with the LA Kings. He's fitting phenomenally. So if the Kings really see him as a possible fit for the next couple of years as like a starter, I could definitely see them try and sign Talbot to a new extension. Sean Monahan's one name that the Elliot Friedman does mention. I'm just not sure if it's 100% guaranteed, given the fact that Monahan's still trade bait, but the Canadiens do really like Monahan, so it's possible. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee, but maybe it's possible Monahan winds up signing with the Montreal Canadiens instead of being moved. It's possible. He's been a really good fit there, but we'll be interested to see. Nashville's Tomas Novak, they signed him to a 1-year, $800,000 deal, if I'm correct, in the offseason. He's been a really good top 6 center, and he's been a fantastic goal scorer for this Preds team, and a Preds team who does not have very much goal scoring. So if they're able to sign to like a 2 to 3 year extension, I think they would definitely be willing to do that. The New York Rangers with Wheeler and Gustafsson, both off-season signings, both cheap 1-year signings. They've both been extraordinarily well. Gustafsson's really rounded out that defense. Wheeler's been a fantastic top 6 forward in New York. I do wonder if one of those two guys wind up getting a new contract extension early on in the new year. Zadina and Addison, 2 young players in San Jose. Zadina signed a 1-year deal in San Jose. Addison only signed a 1-year deal in Minnesota, and then was dealt to the San Jose Sharks. I do wonder if one of those two guys wound up getting a new deal. Seattle with Kailer Yamamoto signed the offseason with the Kraken. He's been a pretty decent bottom 6 forward so far this year for the Seattle Kraken, and I could definitely see him be one of the guys who's possibly considered to be extended early in the new year. We've seen a lot of rumors about Domi and Bertuzzi possibly signing new extensions with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not sure if they've earned it up to this point, but I do think they could possibly be guys who we look out for, as well as Noah Gregor, who was brought on a 1-year deal. It's been absolutely fantastic bottom 6 forward for the Toronto Maple Leafs, so I do wonder if he possibly gets re-signed. And then also in Vancouver, Teddy Blueger. Blueger's been a fantastic bottom 6 forward. They do have a lot of forward help on that team, so I'm not going to say for certain that they would possibly extend Blueger, but he's been a really good, fantastic penalty killer, bottom 6 forward. I could see them have interest in bringing him back for a longer term period of time. So those are some of the guys that I could see possibly wind up getting new deals early in the new year, and those are some guys who are on 1-year deals right now who I could definitely see get new deals. So it will be interesting to see, but guys like Swayman, Duchene, Pavelski, Sprong, OEL, Talbot, Monahan, Novak, Wheeler, Yamamoto are a couple of guys who I could see wind up getting new contract extensions early on in the new year. So it'll be interesting to see. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on who you think could possibly get new contract extensions early in the year for players who are on 1-year deals down in the comment section below. Second, going over to the Golden Knights and the Panthers. Now, there have been a ton of teams currently speculated to be adding at the deadline. Boston's looking for defensive help and a center upgrade. Toronto's looking for some help defensively. We know that New York Rangers are going to be looking for some help. I haven't heard much about the Florida Panthers, and I could see them be one of the teams who are more interesting to watch out for between now and the trade deadline. Florida's been a really good team. They're 2 points back at Boston. They're third in the Eastern Conference right now. They're absolutely phenomenal. Bobrovsky's playing great. Stolarz, who's been the backup so far this year, has been pretty good. Their defense to start the season was all right, and now with Ekblad and Montour back, they are absolutely phenomenal defensively, and their offense is doing good, led by fantastic performances from Evan Rodriguez and Sam Reinhart having the season of his life. So with all of those in place right now with the Florida Panthers, I could see them look to possibly add some things. I could definitely see them add like a third line forward to sort of help some more with depth scoring. I think that's probably their one weakness if they need to improve somewhere. So I could definitely see Florida look to add like a third line forward. Not exactly sure who they target at this point in time, but you have to watch out for Florida. I know they haven't mentioned too much in trade rumors, but they went to a cup final last year, and I could see them try and add something at the deadline. I know they don't have a couple of first-round picks. I could see them move like a second or third-round pick in the next couple of years to try and improve that forward group for a playoff run. So it will be interesting to see. Vegas, same sort of thing in the Western Conference. I've seen a lot of people say Colorado needs a forward upgrade, Dallas needs a defensive upgrade, Canucks could look to add some more defensive help plus a top 6 forward. Kings could possibly look to add a major goaltending upgrade, possibly if they don't have too much confidence in Cam Talbot. But the Vegas Golden Knights are another team that I could see trying to upgrade. Now, their defense has been banged up this year. I know they still have a fantastic decor and one healthy. Those are probably the 6 that are going to be playing, but I could see them trying to add maybe one more depth defenseman to try and sort of improve that blue line even more. Their goaltending isn't as deep as last year. They had Thompson and they had Hill, but they also had Brossoit and also Quick after the deadline. At this point in time, they only have Patera as their third string goaltender. Their fourth string is Savale, who barely has NHL NHL experience. Patera could be a decent third stringer, but they don't really have a whole bunch of NHL level goaltending depth, so I could see him possibly look to add like a third string goaltender by the deadline to try and improve that team. On top of that, I could also see Vegas as maybe like a third line scorer, just like the Florida Panthers. I think they could definitely benefit from adding another scorer. They lost Riley Smith in the offseason, who was a huge piece of last year's team, plus all of the teams before that. So I could see them try and add maybe like another depth scorer to try and help improve their bottom six scoring. So we'll be interested to see, but don't sleep on Vegas and Florida. I know they haven't been mentioned much in the trade rumor mill, but both these teams went to the Cup final last year with Vegas winning. I could see both these teams make pretty decent in-season upgrades to their team. So we'll be interested to see there. And then lastly, here, a quick update here on the goaltending market. It seems like things are really heating up. We've heard over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, that there's going to be a lot of talk in the next little while about goaltending. And I've seen some people even mention that maybe goaltending is what starts all the trade activity. Last year we saw Bo Horvat's big deal possibly kick off all the trade activity. This year we could see it be a goaltender. Now, just a couple of quick updates here on some of the goaltenders. It sounds like Jake Allen's possibly going to be moved in the not too distant future. I've seen a lot of people say that the Canadiens really don't want a three goalie monster anymore. They're pretty happy with how Primo's played so far this year. Montembeault has been extended. He's a decent starter slash backup goaltender. So if those two are going to be there for the long term, it seems like Allen's probably the most likely to get dealt. Now that contract's going to be pretty hard to move this year plus next year to a $3.75 million cap hit, and the Canadiens are possibly asking for a first round pick for Allen with the goaltending market where it is right now. I don't think they're ever going to get that, but I could see him get like a second round pick and a decent level prospect if they were to move Allen right now. So some teams would have to pony up that sort of an asking price, but I could see Allen be a fantastic fit for a team for this year and next year. I do think that the Buffalo Sabres, apparently according to Elliot Friedman yesterday, could possibly look to move Eric Comrie. Comrie's making $1.8 million for the rest of this year. Comrie recently made comments that sounded like he was frustrated with the sort of way that the goaltending is being played out in Buffalo right now with Levi and Luukkonen. I think Levi and Luukkonen are ahead of him in the depth charts, and Elliot Friedman did say that he thinks that if Comrie would go on waivers, he'll probably clear, given the fact that Raanta has a cheaper cap hit and he also cleared, and he's probably also a better backup at this point in time. So it's possible Comrie could go on waivers, or possibly he could get traded. Carolina could still be looking for a goaltender even after recalling Raanta and him having a pretty good game on Thursday, I think it was, against the Montreal Canadiens. So they're another team looking for goaltending. Akira Schmid was sent down to the minors for the New Jersey Devils. That prompted a lot of people to think that the Devils are still heavily in the market for a goaltender. They could definitely use an upgrade, so Devils are going to be a team to watch out for. We know there's probably a couple of other teams. The Red Wings are starting to get a little bit healthier. Lyon's back. Husso shouldn't be too long until he's back. Once Husso gets back, maybe they look to move a guy like Reimer, so that'll be an interesting guy to watch out for. There's been a lot of talk recently that Samsonov could possibly be a guy who possibly gets moved. The Leafs really haven't had really good success so far this year with Samsonov. Jones and Wall have been the better goalies so far this year, so they can't really be paying $3.5 million to a goaltender who's not really even their starter at this point in time. So maybe Samsonov either goes on waivers or possibly he gets moved. It's going to be interesting to see. But I have heard Samsonov's name in trade rumors over the past couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see if Samsonov stays in Toronto or if he goes. On top of that, there's possibly a couple of other teams. We know Edmonton needs a goaltender. Campbell's sort of become the fourth string goaltender in Edmonton. I don't think they can wait all year for him to sort of find his game. I think eventually the Oilers will make a goalie move, because I also don't think they have too much confidence in Skinner and Pickard being a tandem if they were to go into a playoff series. Like if Skinner were to get hurt for the Edmonton Oilers, if they were to make the playoffs in a playoff series, can Pickard really be the starting goaltender for a team to go to the Stanley Cup final? I probably would say no, so I could see Edmonton trying to get an upgrade in net. So we'll be interested to see, but those are some of the teams that I could see looked at the goalie market. There are probably a couple of other teams too. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on who you think could be some of the teams who start out the goalie market and start the goalie carousels down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk about for today. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of this down in the comment section. Which players do you think who are on 1 year deals right now will get extended early on in the new year? Some of those guys who I mentioned, or is there other guys? I definitely have to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Do you see Vegas or Florida getting huge additions before the deadline? I could definitely see it. I could see the Knights get a third string goaltender, or possibly even a top 9 forward. Same thing with Florida. I could definitely see him add top 9 forward too. So it'll be interesting to see, but I could definitely see what those guys add at the deadline. So even though they haven't been mentioned too much, I do think they're possibly end up adding at the deadline. And I do think there's going to be a lot of goalie moves over the next couple of months. And it'll be interesting to see if teams like Carolina, Toronto, New Jersey, Anaheim with Gibson, Arizona with Reg Melka, which sort of teams might making some of these goalie moves. So it'll be interesting to see there. And also love to hear your thoughts on the signings, the waiver updates, and injury news. So definitely love to hear your thoughts on all of that. But that's what I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video, and if you'd like to, remember to subscribe down below. If you're 200 subscribers, thank you for all of your support. I would never been able to do it without all of you guys. So don't forget to subscribe so we can hit 250 subscribers. I also have a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So you can check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, and I can't wait to see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.